música, tacones, un flow de gótica, pelo largo y curva sólida. Me tiene mal no verte más, es mágica, clásica y la quiere sentiva, polvito de rosa lavada. Ella digo, si te cara y nada más, flashes de películas. Flashes de película, muñecas que no son tímidos en mi cabeza, billetiza. Y el hay stars cuando hay scars. Flashes de película, muñecas que no son tímidos en mi cabeza, billetiza. Y el hay
What's up, guys? Grand Rising. How we feeling? Hope we're doing amazing today. All right, Merry Christmas. What's up, guys? Hope we're feeling good. Merry Christmas. If you haven't heard from me or Nance yet, Merry Christmas from Tradetopia. Let's get into the markets. Shout out to everyone that kind of got back into the groove pretty quick. Honestly, I myself wasn't sure if I was going to stream this morning. I was like, last night, I'm like, maybe we sleep in. Would be kind of nice. But honestly, thankfully for y'all and for me, woke up before, the stream. Just naturally, felt good. So I was like, all right, let's do this stream. Let's get into it, But yeah, let's look at the markets. Everything's basically back to normal. So we can take a look at indices, majors, metals, oil, crypto, stocks, the whole thing. We'll just see what's up, see what's cooking in the lab over here. All right. So here we go. All right. So right now, immediately I started to notice the potential for a shakeout setup here with NASDAQ. We took out these highs from Thursday, just no stopping this move to the upside. It was just no chill. So after it clears these highs, the market flies one more time here, just 30 minutes ago, and then comes crumbling right back down. This typically is looking very similar, very close to what I would want in a shakeout setup. However, it reversed completely. But not only did it fill the imbalance, it actually ends up briefly breaking below. I don't typically want to see that when the market's giving one of these ideas. Either it stays within the imbalance, it builds up liquidity and then makes the move, or it breaks below the structure. It creates solid bearish demand. The market just trades below here for some time, and then we can look for the pullback. In this example, it's not quite just trading within the imbalance, and then it breaks below but doesn't stay below. So I'm not super sold on this for NQ. Thanks, baby. And then from here, you can also take a look at S&P 500 and NASDAQ. And when you look at the other two indices in this asset class, well, S&P now also came into this move. So we see that S&P doesn't make the same type of spike as NQ. So NASDAQ here makes the high, like it takes out the high from Asian session, whereas S&P didn't really make a spike throughout Tokyo session, and it's still trading within. Actually, no, it is still below Tokyo session right over here, and New York session over there. And then if we look at Dow Jones, Dow basically still has equal highs over here from Christmas Eve and from Tokyo. So I don't think we've cleared enough. It looks like, to me, I feel like there's more liquidity over here. And if I'm going to really, really zoom out, I do have this liquidity sweep up here with Dow before it drops from the 15th of December. If you look at the rest of the market, NASDAQ has traded a little bit higher than that. S&P here has traded towards all-time highs, so it's on its way there. This is trading above everything going into October. So right now, we have S&P with the most momentum to the upside on the highest time frames. You have NASDAQ that's climbing its way up, and you have Dow Jones that's a little bit more, it's lagging behind the most between really the rest of the group here. So I am open. I'm patient on letting this just take out this week's highs maybe one more time before settling in for a sell. That's one idea. Now, if we're looking at this from a different point of view, let's say, so I understand why someone would want to sell NASDAQ in here. On its own, it looks pretty solid. It looks like it could be distribution, imbalance fill, playing at a previous levels of resistance. So, this kind of reversal, I get it. A lot of me, within me, is like, pull the trigger on that. It looks good. Come on, it looks solid. However, with the extra evidence that I have with the correlated assets, knowing that there's still liquidity with S&P or Dow, I'm okay with just kind of leaving this one to the side. I'm cool with it. I've accepted my fate there. Now, that's what we're looking at for sells. But if we want to go with the momentum, if we want to trade alongside this and just kind of continue to rally with what the market's showing us, the one that's the clearest for me here is Dow. Dow here makes on Christmas Eve, New York Open, big liquidity capture here, and then just absolutely rallies. So seeing the market come back to the zone could be a very, very clean setup over here, playing into New York Open from Christmas Eve. So this one here is pretty black and white. I think it just needs no extra. This is a signature setup. The only last thing that I want to consider is really how we work our way down to these areas. So are we going to trade bearish? Are we going to get to here at a slower pace or get here last compared to S&P and NQ? So got to keep our eye out on that, because that's New York Open is right around here. It's actually a little bit of a different move. S&P doesn't crack below the same way Dow does. It basically just makes one last order block before it runs, and NASDAQ is kind of similar. You can see NASDAQ here this one was mental. If you guys remember, we were actually trading in this distribution. We had like a 2 to 3 R over here before it reversed and just kept going. But you see a massive spike down, the choppiness of this, and then you get one more move. You get one more heavy push down before everything just absolutely rips to the upside. So NQ, its big smart money sell-off is right here, makes that big move to the downside, and then it rallies. So if we're going to see any sort of movement with NASDAQ, if we're ever going to get a buy here, it's going to be based out of this last push down here about an hour after Dow. So this is what you can look at when it comes down to reversals here with NASDAQ. It would have to be over here. So at this point now, what I'm looking at, what I'm making sure, if I am going to pull the trigger on a buy, it's going to be whichever one works its way down here the slowest. Right now, if I'm going to, just based off of where we're at right now, looks like NASDAQ would get here first. So we'll see. And actively right now, we're 2.5 minutes away from New York Open. But the distribution seems to be forming. So if you did like the short here, maybe you consider this a shakeout model, then I would have my entries at break even at this point with NQ. If that was your idea, if you're like, yeah, no, I like it, let's pull the trigger, then yeah, I would be at least adjusting my stops, protecting, everything that you can there. Oh, this mug is ginormous. Damn. That hits. That definitely is warm. Is it charger too? Mm-hmm. Where does it charge? I don't want to put it on the heater. All right. So anyways, that's Indices right now. Did its thing. And we'll keep an eye out there, right? Before we do that, before I go into the other assets I want to look at, let me say what up to everybody, right? Merry Christmas. What's up, Cesar? Buenas tardes, bro. I'll get to I have a message from you, so I'll look at them there. Seth, Lonzo, Gabriel, Harshi. Será una semana excelente. Let's do it. Come on. Gayard, Edwin. How you doing, brother? What's up, Puccini, Diego, Amilcar? Guys, let me tell you right now, before I forget, there's one more chance for this testimonial if you guys, let's see, if you haven't already, you can still fill in your opportunity. I'm going to do the giveaway today here towards the end of the stream or right afterwards. But submit your testimonial here. You get 1 raffle entry for a text testimonial, 2 raffle entries for a text testimonial with screenshot proof of results, and then 3 raffle entries for a video testimonial. This is going to be for 2 funded accounts. All right. So 2 winners, 2 different winners for these funded accounts. Wish you guys the best. We appreciate y'all showing up, growing as traders and evolving here together. So yeah, go ahead, run it up. I think since the day some of you did this, you actually got new testimonials, even better ones. So if you have something different, then go ahead, do it again. But yeah, let's go back to it. So here we have it. Oil, when this was shorting, it looked like mitigation here. So, I went into originally stop profit or reduced my stop. But when the market quickly rebalanced the drop, to me, that was a sign. That was like, okay, we're not ready to go bearish yet. The market only took the lows to clear out liquidity. And then it came right back up. So when we saw this, I moved my stops to break even. So this trade ended up just being a break-even trade for me. But the cool thing is this. The cool thing is that we now have a completely different trade, in my opinion. So I do think that we end up getting another opportunity at this now. That's what it seems like. We see the market clear not only this consolidation, trades up to here, and then crashes down. So right now, it's in the creation of a bearish structure and mitigation. So take a look at how the market takes out the highs here, clears those out, takes out tons of liquidity, comes crashing down. So I do think we can get a trade up here in the near future. I'm going to come back to oil here in a second, but I do want to show you guys what we have going on with indices. So if you took a short here in that imbalance, you like that trade, awesome, right? This was a basically 15-point stop, give or take. If you took it, you would have hit your 3R, maybe 2R, depending on what your exit is here, why your exit is there. So cool. No reason to have to take any loss on this, in my opinion. So some nice bearish movement for NQ to kick things off. Actually very aggressive in taking out some lows, trading into London again. Doesn't get below London session. So NASDAQ still staying within London. However, definitely clearing tons of liquidity. If I turn on the session markers, you can see, right, Tokyo high is taken out. This distributed based off of that. But we still have London lows way over here. This, for me, was vulnerable for a short, so I didn't take anything. And then we have S&P that's holding up really well. And then Dow that actually went pretty bullish to kick things off, but now is just kind of back here, back chilling again. So let's see how price continues to play out here. If NQ is going to become maybe NQ keeps pushing forward, upwards faster. If that's the case, then that Dow Jones short will look solid. If not, if let's say the market just kind of stays put like this, then I mean we might be looking at selling again, right? We might be looking at selling up here one more time. It just kind of depends on when we get, right? That's it. If we start trading down here some more, then hey, maybe we look for something. But based on what this is doing right now, I don't think this is shorting. So for me, I don't want to get in front of this thing. I'm good on that. Let it rip. Let it get bullish. I'll chill out over here. Look at that. Now NQ is starting to push higher. S&P is definitely looking to push higher. Let me set alerts here above the highs. And then Dow is Chilling. What's it going to be, folks? So here's the ideal scenario, in my opinion. We work our way up to here. This is a sell from the 15th, so from about 11 days ago, from last week. So if we work our way over here, and let's say Dow, S&P, and NQ, they're all pushing upwards. Let's just say that's what's happening. If that is how this goes, and Dow is just slowly over here, approaches this zone slowly, then, yeah, this is what I want to take. So the trade over here, for me, I'd be looking to short this around 49.110. Say 49.109. Like right over here. Depending on how we get up there, maybe it's even a little earlier, but something like this is what I'm thinking. So stop would be here, 44.135, we'll say. So something like this. What did I say? All right, everything keeps pushing. Okay, yeah, they're all moving together now. All right, so something like this looks like could be good work. Cardinal limit order here. I did it on the wrong chart. All right, create a limit order. So we have our trade here. Okay. Got it set up this way. So S&P about to take out Tokyo highs, getting very close. NASDAQ here. I'm honestly creating potential buy scenarios. Now that I swept tons of liquidity, if the market goes higher and stays bullish, could end up actually getting something to trade in here even. So that's something else to think about later on. But from what we can see, guys, across the board, we have NASDAQ pushing higher, just cracking the highs from just a few minutes ago. You have S&P finally taking out Tokyo highs over here. So we see it go down this way, just like that. Tokyo highs swept, and then Dow is, very, very light work over here. Light work. So still sticking within even New York Open, let alone taking out even any sort of highs quite yet. So, yeah, this is what I'm sticking with. I like the plan so far. All right, so going back to oil, here's the setup. This is already did its thing. So this was the original trade from last week. If you took this, I'd say make sure you kind of journal it, see. It could be worth it to you later on. I mean, I would imagine. So, all right, let me go ahead and I don't think I actually ended up updating this one. All right. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. So here's the new setup. We have it here. Let me just make sure I got some alerts here. So if we start getting closer, we're ready to strike over here. These are pushing. These are both pushing nicely now. So, that first minute. So something here that was interesting is NQ takes out the highs, S&P takes out the highs, and then they kind of both slow down right away. And now we have Dow pushing pretty strongly, while S&P, well, they're all kind of pushing pretty well now. Okay, so we're not too far from this trade at this point. About 80 points or so. Okay. Oil here takes out liquidity, so you can draw it out that way. Takes out liquidity over here, takes out some highs. Wednesday, London session highs. And then now we are breaking below. We've been trading below here for about an hour, so the longer, the better. And then now comes the question to where would you short this? I see the imbalance up here, so I'm going to go ahead and take a swing at this within this imbalance. So I'm looking for a sell looking more like this. And then from here, we have signature exits over here, just sweeping liquidity. And then at this point, this looks like a pretty good example of, accumulation to distribution. So, I mean, this is, in my opinion, is conservative. I think we could go even lower, trading into these imbalances, etc. But for the case of intraday trading, which is most people, this is more than likely the best case scenario. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this one up here, which is going to be oil. So let's get the setup going here. Today's setups. Post-Christmas, December 26, 2025. Just a few more trading days left of the year. Oil. So this is oil. Short mitigation. Still would want to see demand stay bearish and below previous structure. Looking promising nonetheless. Okay. And then let me throw in the Dow setup in here too. So something like this. So Dow Jones, short mitigation. As long as YM stays moving upwards, moving bullish at a slower pace than NQ and ES, I'm down to sell. NQ and ES already swept Tokyo highs, while YM hasn't. Limit is set for me. Okay. There you have it, guys. So this is pretty choppy right now. Like, it's not really, it's going back and forth. It just played out of this structure over here from earlier in the day. So waiting it out here. S&P still trading pretty high. So is NQ. Yeah, nothing really changes. Just kind of let the price fluctuate here for indices. Let it breathe. Okay. So we have that. What we haven't looked at quite yet are metals, and then we'll look at majors. So on was it on Christmas Eve, right? I think it was. Yeah. So market came down into the order block for gold buys. Originally, I wanted gold buys near these lows over here. This ended up actually rejecting this order block over here, not quite getting as down as I would have wanted to. Nonetheless, it wasn't the trade that I would have taken anyways, because silver's price action just also didn't go as deep as expected. And so silver doesn't mitigate down here. This is technically still an idea over here. There's definitely sell positions still open way down here. Silver just comes in, feels some of this imbalance, plays off of an order block and some structure, and then just rips again. Not only that, then it breaks above structure with the opening into Christmas Day, like a Tokyo session here, and it just gaps up and keeps flying. So silver extremely bullish, and not even that, it actually sets up another idea where we have the market take out the lows and then go on an absolute tear. So we have a new setup on silver as well. And this, at this point, just comes down to how we work our way back down. Because gold has the exact same idea, right? Gold rejects, just melts down, then continues bullish. Silver's been extremely bullish to the upside, but doesn't mean that it can't drop just as fast. So right now, kind of one or the other. Have my eyes on either or. I'll go ahead and send these here as well. We'll go ahead and update. So we got a kind of a gold versus silver idea here. So gold, long mitigation. And as you guys will see here, these are pretty much identical. Silver, long mitigation. And silver is considering multiple here. So I'll just have all of these, at least the closest ones here. Okay, so there's silver. And then let me just give some context here. Both of these look very similar. At this point, it will just come down to divergence. Trade. I'll be trading the lagger, the metal that gets to the zone last. Okay. Silver kind of creates this distribution here too. Takes out the highs, worked its way down here below. Trades below here for just about 2 hours. So it comes down, kind of quickly comes up though, but it does stay down here until it just worked its way into this order block in the beginning of this move. So I think we've already seen the mitigation of this. This looks like a reversal already. I wouldn't really want to get in front of this again. And then also at the same time, we saw gold take out the highs and then work its way down. So yeah, it looks like these are starting to go bearish here. I wasn't looking at this, earlier, so that wasn't something I was looking to take. But we'll see. This could even set up a sell for gold. Right, we could look for a distribution later, so we'll see. We'll keep this one posted. Keep an eye on this. Dow holding up here pretty well, about only really 50 points out from an entry for me. So if we're gonna look at this, going back to indices, just kind of keeping track of what we're getting over here. Dow is pushing up and up, while now NQ, the last few minutes in S&P, starting to lose some steam. Right, these last 4 minutes, they're starting to go down a bit more and more. So has Dow, just not as aggressively. So I'm not quite in the. I'm not looking to do anything yet. No, nothing for me to do here. If those of you might be looking at NQ and thinking, should I be buying? This takes out the lows, right? So that's a nice capture of liquidity. It chops up here a little bit. And then you still have an imbalance and an order block left behind over here. So we've been trading above this for about 13, 14 minutes right now actively. It's a 15, it's like a small time frame break above. It's not a 5 minute, 15 minute. On the 5 minute, we're actually seeing it's losing momentum. And we're trading very, very high in the structure already. So just macro wise, we're way up here. Can this go higher? Sure it can. But I would say there's definitely some vulnerabilities to taking a trade here. So not my favorite setup so far. But if you are into it, I don't hate the idea. So if anything, the reversal here more than likely happens out of this zone. If you're just taking a look at NQ and everything else, this is trading below the 50%. Dow is about to do the exact same thing. So this is, I kind of have to make a decision relatively quickly here. Trading very similar, and then Dow is a lot more bearish, trading all the way down to here. So if you're going to pull the trigger on something like this, just be aware of where everything's at. These are all dropping pretty aggressively, already at 786 here. Dow is the most bearish between the group here. So if it's going to hold up and you're going to take a swing at this, then it would be NQ over any of them, in my opinion, from what it looks like here. So let's say you're going to take a small trade. Maybe that's your approach here. Maybe a little half risk kind of guy. Over here, stop below, then I would say, I don't know. I think if this trade would play out, which it looks like it's starting to already, I wouldn't be surprised if at least one of these took out the low. I guess none of them wanted to. Okay, cool. Good rejection already. Almost a mitigation. Pretty close. Anyone take this? Obviously, I was pretty iffy on it. I didn't love the structure. I didn't hate the structure, but I didn't love it. Okay. Now, let's say this thing keeps ripping now. Like this is the excuse for this to go higher and for Dow to set up over here. I would probably want to take my exit either within this imbalance that it's creating or just taking out these lows. That would have been a nice trade, huh? God damn. I didn't honestly. I think had I had another minute to just had I started expecting a play out of there, I think I would have taken that half hour risk at it. But couldn't get to it. It's okay. Took that short 10-point stop. Nice. A nice Norway TP. Sat on a bus from the airport. Sick. I love it. I wanted that silver short, but didn't have enough account size. Yeah, that's the thing that sucks. Like silver, if you're trading it on most, it's just a lot of margin, man. So if you can get micro silver, I know TopStep has that. Then you can take a stab out of it, but not everything else. The MYM1 chart looks way different than the one you have. Yeah, that's why you should use the current contract one. Thoughts on YM sell zone. Replay shows a mitigation right away on the 1 minute. I mean, I could take a look at it again. Maybe we're not going to get any of that today. And look at that. Now Dow is holding structure, and these are dropping more. So looks like, let's go to the 15-second, right? You got a big drop here, 45 points. Market reverses about 37.50. Meanwhile, now we are at a completely different structure overall. So NQ dropping way more aggressively, S&P working its way down, and now Dow Jones is holding up the structure much better. All right, so Seth is saying that this already did its thing over here. So we have the sweep, the market then worked its way down, chops up an imbalance in here, worked its way down again, aggressively comes right back up. I could see that. I feel like I had looked at this already and made a decision with it, but yeah, this does look like it's already exchanging money from buyers and sellers and buyers and sellers. And right now, around where we had just rejected 49.50 and change, 49, up into this range. Yeah, I see what you're seeing, and I think it is worth dismissing this sell. Yeah, I think you have a point. Like, could it reject? Maybe, but is it... That just, like, for example, that data that we just see there, it kind of just shows us, like, all right, it doesn't like, it could already have mitigated. So do we need to take that trade again? We don't need to. All right, so after all of this fun that we just had, up and down, trading into the imbalance, rejecting, we still have the buys from down here. We also have what I would consider, so let me delete this here. If we're looking at NQ and YM, NQ again took out all of the highs and is now starting to lose momentum. So NASDAQ in, I would say, like, distribution creation mode. So we saw the sweep of the high up here that took out the highs. Then we see the market break below, quickly come back to play out of this order block, just to come right back down. So then, okay, are we rejecting order block or did we mitigate? This is clearly pushing further down. S&P takes out the highs, hasn't quite gone to that same level. So look at this, right? This is important. S&P here takes out these highs and then right now is working its way down. So where does that start? Here's that last push up. So S&P does not close out here. S&P a valid sell here still. And then Dow hasn't quite taken out anything. This is still sitting below Tokyo lows. So, I mean, we still could see it take out these highs. So right now, what could happen is since price action is shifting a bit, all of a sudden NQ and S&P are a bit more bearish. This is what I think will happen. If it happens this way, here's how I'm going to trade this. If we get Dow to take out the previous highs here, right? Christmas highs, Tokyo highs. If it takes those out, and then at the same time, we have S&P or NQ climbing up at a slower pace, then I'll short whichever makes sense. So, for example, if Dow starts to fly, takes out, these lines represent the New York and Tokyo highs right here. So let's say we were to get something like that and it clears that, then I'm game. And then it stays within this zone, I would be down to short something in here. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm actually going to prepare in case that happens. Doesn't mean it has to. Doesn't mean it will. It's just to be ready for it. Like, here we go. Okay. In case it goes this way, then I can already have contracts ready and, you know, all that jazz. So let's say that were to happen, then I can just be like pretty much down for the get down. And that would be mitigating the last sweep to the upside. That I would want to take. So you see how we just rejected this order block here? So I'd probably want to take it above that. That's assuming everything I'm saying right now is going to happen, which sometimes does. Sometimes it doesn't. So I can't just like expect to be right. So just have that set up there in case that is how this wants to go. Otherwise, chilling. Meanwhile, we have silver working its way up a bit more. Gold here, as it was breaking below, lost some momentum and climbing upwards. So no new trade for me personally with metals. And then now take a look at this. We're seeing indices crash. So NASDAQ over here bleeding out. Looks like it's going to be the first to get down to this zone from Wednesday's New York session. S&P also working its way down. And then Dow slowly working its way down. So at this point, if anything is going to set up, it looks like Dow as a buy is the best bet. We just got NASDAQ here rejecting support from London session. Now, I wonder if there's anything here. So look at how we had London. Dow during London kind of pokes below here, breaks right through, trades out of this order block, comes back up. It tries to get above this high, and we do trade above here for, 20 minutes before losing the momentum again. So is this enough bullish structure to even consider buying into this London session? Probably not. Right now, what I think is what we'll likely see go down here is obviously NASDAQ is pushing towards this big sell-off from New York session on Wednesday. S&P is basically creating liquidity still. It's got a long more to go to get down there. Like we have to get down a lot further. And then you got Dow that's just building up liquidity over here. So a lot of pips on deck. Loves the caps. I would say it seems like I mean the whole should have and I should have done this, I should have. If you have your system, like there's really not too much to go back and forth on. Like you kind of know what you got to be looking for. Just because the market moves in a way and you didn't catch, it's not even a big move. It's like 60 points. It's whatever, you know. Like it's just a trade. So only reason I say that is if you're really reactive to what the market's giving you, you're probably going to be reactive to what you're taking too, and like the risk exposure you have for yourself. So if you find yourself kind of like back and forth all the time, or like you're kind of emotionally swinging, then just make sure you're not looking to always get from the market. Like prioritize the quality of the setup over the missed opportunity to make money, because otherwise you're just it's always going to be maybe not stressful, but it's always going to be like you're going to feel FOMO all the time, or you're going to feel like you're missing out. So fading yourself, if you had the textbook play there already, like if you had already said like this is a trade I'm going to take, and then you didn't, that's where you got to ask yourself why. Let's see. So right now we cracked the lows. We're coming right back up. So NQ kind of eating up this liquidity sweep here. Instantly just took it out and then just rallying like crazy. Quick rally. So again, it's funny because like every little bit of detail you get, every time markets are capturing liquidity, potentially creating new structure, it can give you different setups. It can just offer different type of perspective. So for example, let's say, it doesn't mean this is going to happen, but we just saw NASDAQ take out London lows and then immediately reverse. So if for whatever reason NQ starts to just hold bullish structure better than everything else, then there's a chance that this becomes a buying opportunity. Assuming that NQ for some reason now is way more bullish, if things start to come down, S&P and Dow become much more aggressive to the downside, then what I'm saying right now could be valid. Doesn't mean it's gonna happen. It's just it could happen. I've seen it happen. So if you'll notice, especially when I'm trading indices on the smallest time frames, it's a different type of approach than trading majors, metals, oil on the higher time frames. Like you don't have to adapt within minutes to a completely new scenario that formed. For most other things, like you have quite a bit of time. Like it takes some time to establish like a new direction or not. Whereas indices, smaller time frames, it can be a lot more like a faster adaptation, which is why it can trigger more emotions. Hey, enjoy Norway, man. Enjoy it. All right, cool. Bless you. So right now, what are we seeing? Look, market took out the lows. It's coming right back up. All right. Creating a decent structure. It's holding up pretty well, so look at it from this angle. Here, let me show you guys. Look at how now NQ is chilling over here, while Dow is not going up. It's actually going down a little bit. So here's what could happen. We could see Dow push to sweep this liquidity here. If it clears liquidity here and NQ goes down gently, we'll say that. We'll put it that way. If it goes down gently over here, so let's say this kind of keeps moving on like this, and then we end up getting a little pullback into here, then, okay, I could see a move up here. But it would have to be something like this. And we would want to stay sideways for another 10 minutes or so at least, just to really have concrete evidence of like, is the market staying bullish or not? If something like this doesn't happen and like this just starts crashing down now, then I'm not going to do anything. Like I'm not going to take anything here. So I'm always looking at possible scenarios just so I'm ready. But it doesn't mean that you got to marry that idea. Like, oh, it has to be this way. No. We just gotta let the market do whatever it's gonna do. Okay. All right. So that now leaves us with the majors. Let's go look at these dollar pairs. Let's go see what's happening here. All right. So from last week, we were looking for possible buys with Australian. We had a nice sweep of the low. The market then rallied. It's actually actively rallying right now. So this idea still stays pretty valid. We have similar approach as what we were looking for with NZD, but as you can see, not as bullish. Doesn't maintain the same type of structure. Euro, just pretty choppy. CAD futures here, very bullish, trading way over here. We could see this last push down become a buying opportunity similar to Australian. See how similar they look? So, we'll see. You have then yen that's been bearish, but no entries for me. The pound here, no setups. And then Swiss franc. Swiss franc, there was potential if the market created higher highs and established bullish demand here. It was pretty weak every time it came up. So this wasn't my first. This wasn't a high priority. It wasn't an A+ setup. Obviously, the push down, mitigating the order block, it made sense. But considering that there was way more bullish assets compared to Swiss franc, it just wasn't. It wasn't what I wanted to pull the trigger on. So we just kind of kept it. Did nothing really. So yeah, I mean, right now I'm not really loving too much price action with the majors. The ones that could have a decent setup would be Australian over here. This last push down, let's see how it works its way down. If it eventually, maybe we get a buy position here. So I can go ahead and I'll share this one in the setups here. So 6A, AUD, long mitigation. And then CAD. CAD isn't as nice. It does push down, and then it just chops up like crazy before rallying. So it does look, I guess, less attractive, the idea. We definitely see, a imbalance fill before the market completely reverses. So I'm going to just keep my eye on this one rather than do anything yet. So this possible shakeout setup here, obviously not valid. NQ started to drop down faster again, while Dow is still kind of just holding up in here. So there's a lot of liquidity right here with Dow Jones, like a ton. And NQ looks like it's about to tap into this mitigation zone here. So here was that sell-off from Wednesday's New York session. S&P is about to take out the London lows, finally. So what do we do? Right? What do we do with indices? Here's what I'm not going to do. I'll start there. Right? Here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to buy NASDAQ. NASDAQ to me seems like it's the most bearish between all of these. So I don't think it'll respect structure very well, at least not with what we're seeing so far. So I'm going to stay put on that. From there, though, we can take a look at S&P. S&P, if you look back to price action over here, right, we saw the push down during New York Open. It kind of chops up and down, so very choppy price action. You get one last aggressive order block, which is right here. This very bearish move down. That was luring in quite a bit of sellers at the time before it reversed. So if you think in the context of this idea right here, it takes out, so just think about it this way. It takes out the highs and then leaves this giant wick. So when you're looking at the market in real time here, you're thinking, oh, this clears liquidity. This is going to sell from here. This is totally going to sell off. And then, of course, it does not, and that's actually the low point. So here would be another place the market could bounce out of. And then you have Dow. So Dow, since it's dropping with the least amount of intensity, the buy looks best, in my opinion, for Dow. But the question is, where? So is Dow going to be sustainable within this zone, and it wants to hold this as a reaccumulation? Or is this going to work its way down and look for either a reversal out of here, or is it going to look for a rejection out of this order block right there? Now, why would this be relevant? Well, this order block right here is where we see a structure high, the previous high, and an order block at the same time. So if you're getting, and this is not as common, but it does happen. If the market is starting to get to key reversal zones with other of the same asset class, so like S&P or NQ, let's say those are giving like textbook setups, then and then Dow is also in the same zone. Well, I'm going to want to take Dow because it's not dropping as aggressively, and then you can use the order block as like your entry zone. So if you look right now, NQ starting to slow down. Actually, its drop. We got Dow that's starting to finally clear liquidity here, working its way in. All right, NQ just tapped into the zone. Dow is working its way down. So I'm gonna stay. I'm not gonna pull the trigger or anything in here. I don't think that's gonna be a good setup. I'm looking at Dow over here now. So I want to see if something in here makes sense. So as you guys see, like I get ready for scenarios in case we get something worth trading over here. We shall see, my friends. We shall see. All right, so Dow sweeps liquidity, plays into the imbalance, eats it up right away. S&P clears the lows, clears London lows, starts to rally. NQ just taps the open of this move and then instantly just starts to fly. Jesus. So very, very, very bullish here. Okay. So would I have taken NQ? Like I said, I wouldn't take NQ buys anyways. And it played right off the open. So RR. So whenever you're thinking, oh no, like I could have caught that move, and you start talking whatever nonsense to yourself, it would have been really worth it anyways. Right now, you wouldn't even be you'd barely be at a 1-to-1. So here's this huge move, or what it seems like is a massive move, but it would just literally be a 1-to-1 right now. Don't get me wrong, 1-to-1s are great, but when you think about it that way, it's like, okay, did you really miss out? And are you even missing out if like that wasn't even your invitation to the party? Like you didn't get the invitation, but at least I didn't. So like I don't feel no type. There's no type of animosity here. All right, so again, let the market, before you go and chase what you feel like you're missing out on, you got to ask yourself, what are the consequences of taking this trade? What are the consequences of not waiting for my idea? What are the consequences of Just, you know, wanting to be in the market all the time. Because they all come with consequences. All right. Any setups you guys want me to look at here? Feel free to let me know. So right now, the way that the market's moving out, and yeah, like I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, what can we get prepared for if the market keeps moving this way? It could be setting up for accumulation. So this might turn into something that we can buy later. Let's say we break above here on the 1 minute. Then, okay, we could be looking for buys in here. That's possible. See? All right, we're starting to get over here. So we might be looking at, for example, did its thing here. Let's say we keep pushing higher. We could be looking for a buy setup right there. And so sometimes you may be thinking, oh, I missed it. But if it sets you up for a trade in the same area or with a better risk reward later, then cool. Like you get your trade. When you see this chart, do your eyes draw to 890s before shorts? 890s. I need to know what asset you're talking about. Where did you came in here hot into this stream? I think I've seen you on here. And you're like, but I love it. This is good chat. Good. It's just you right now. But like guys, like I'm gonna answer if you guys are like, oh, it's Alex. What's good, bro? So yeah, if you guys are obviously have things that you want to look at and you want feedback on, like be as active as you can. OG days. You were in at that time locked in. What's good, Jimmy? What's up, Mando? All right, ese Mando. All right, so yeah, so now that we're starting to see a shift, all right, look at how things are turning around now. So it appears that the sweep below this was the liquidity sweep. Take out London session, trade into New York session yesterday from there, and now we might be looking at clean buy setups. So I talked about buying in here. I honestly wasn't sold. I wasn't convicted yet because we didn't have a deep enough push with NQ. And then S&P didn't really trade into like, I thought we were going to trade a little bit lower with S&P. But it looks like S&P taking out London lows, NQ playing into the mitigation, and then Dow playing into this imbalance. That was the play. So there was a setup here. I wanted maybe more liquidity before anything, but you know, it is happening. Now, take a look at how the market's playing out. NQ is starting to drop a little bit. It's eating this drop up though, a lot better. Meanwhile, Dow is pushing pretty fast to the downside. So let's keep this. Let's stay cognizant. So now that the 1 minute is shifting like this, all right. So take a look at this. ¿Qué tal? ¿Qué tal? Puedes explicar la venta. No tengo venta aquí. No hay venta. My bad. Bro, tienes que aprender inglés. Qué pedo, bro. Esto ya mitigó aquí. En mi opinión. Aquí ya rechazó. Yeah, so this looks like NQ looks like it already played out of here. S&P a little bit slower on the way up. Would I want to sell this though? Not really. This break below does not give bearish structure. So this is, let me just delete this. This doesn't look like a good sell for me. So look at how we're pushing now. And Q working its way down. So let me actually talk about this real quick. Structure. these very, very brief breaks below does not create a downtrend. Not for me. Not even close. The market doesn't actually trade down here for very long. There aren't sellers that start to really position themselves in here. This is just in and out. So YM entry was 940, hit 941. Rough. So now, with the new market conditions we have, with the new data that we have, it looks more like a reaccumulation. It looks like a failed distribution, a failed attempt to make a downtrend. Here, I really just want to see these start to just play out sideways for a bit. Then we can take our buys. So I'm gonna basically buy whatever is gonna drop into this zone with the slow and steady. So if it's NQ, cool, NQ buys. If it's S&P, cool. The buys here, I mean, I'm looking at like anywhere from 825, 850 or lower. All right, so look at how this is starting to move. This trades up to here. We left this area pretty quick. We've only been moving sideways for 5, 6, 7 minutes. Okay. And Q almost dropped down to that 50%. Dow here is just chilling. Not really dropping as aggressively. So, got to make a choice here at some point. That's rough, man. Greg, you got missed by 1 tick. That's crazy. My boy got coal. Got coal for Christmas. Yeah, I'm surprised y'all even showed up today. I didn't think anyone was really going to be on today. I had like almost 250 people on. All right, let's see here. So we're chilling. NQ are on the 38.2. Dow, like, you see how they're just moving sideways like this? So I just want to give it time. One of these can be solid for sure for a buy. What's it going to be? I would love to see this go higher and trade a little bit higher for a little longer, though. So how do you prepare for something like this, right? How do you prepare for an idea? Well, basically what you got to do in this scenario is be ready for either one. So have a general idea of, like, let's say where you would want to take a position here. Let's just say like right down here. Know what that would look like for you. Sorry, it looks like 40 contracts here. We could even set it as a buy, as a market execution. If the market were to get down there. And then you have the other side of it too. So then you're like, all right, cool. That's what that looks like with Dow. Well, what would it look like with NQ? So let's say you had it set up this way. And then you have a general idea of what you want to do here. So now you have like, all right, cool. 15 contracts roughly is what I'm looking for over there. 25 with Dow, if it were to play out that way. I don't like none of this at all. That's funny. Gold breaking out. Okay. And if you don't like any of this at all, then you don't got to do anything. You just stay out of the game. Gold. All right, yeah. I mean, gold just pushing higher. That's cool. That's whatever. No setup for me anywhere. I'm just waiting. There was this bet on poly markets between whether gold was gonna hit 5,000 first or ETH. It's looking like gold's gonna do it first. All right, so take a look. Dow pushing higher right now. Got a bit more bullish momentum. NQ still within the structure. So some early signs that Dow is holding up a bit better here. That if it were to pull back a little bit later, it actually would stay within the structure, within the zone. Meanwhile, you're seeing NQ stay within here. Look at that. A lot more bullish for Dow. So a setup like this could happen this way. NQ would break below, more than likely. Dow would be staying within the structure. Oftentimes, that's what will happen. Métele ahí, Diego. Aprendes inglés. Tú puedes. Al mismo tiempo, aquí trading inglés. Yeah, so with that silver sell, I mean, it didn't really make sense to short anything. You wouldn't want to. One, you already saw the rejection out of here, and two, the structure just wasn't very good anyways. And three, silver was pushing bullish stronger than gold. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now all indices across the board are pushing. This is working its way back down now after breaking above here. Good structure. Let's see how it holds up. What are we getting with Bitcoin? Whoa, Bitcoin. Very, very volatile today. Jesus. Just tanked. All right, so we're starting to see a bit more bearish pressure for NQ. Starting to lose momentum a little bit faster than Dow is. So that Dow setup looking better. Better and better over here. I'm going to create the limit order. And then if I have to delete it in an alternate, then I will. But for now, I'm going to keep it like that. The 1 hour on Bitcoin, more on the distribution side. ETH staying within structure, so is Bitcoin. They're really similar, honestly. What a move, man. Silver is just going crazy. All right, so stocks-wise, how are we looking across the board? UPS, chilling, down 1% on Webull. Let's see what's down the most today. Tesla, AMC. Nike at 60. Good recovery from down here. Nice. Not a dramatic day, though, anywhere really. Tesla's a decent drop, but nothing crazy. Okay. All right, indices holding up. And the longer the market stays bullish like this, the more likely it is that at least one of these holds up structure pretty well. So, cool. All right, guys. I mean, this one's basically getting ready for, mitigating the sell-off that we have over here. You guys, I mean, I'll just kind of leave it up to you to make that decision. Give me 1 second, y'all. All right, guys. So, y'all ready for the giveaway or what's up? Who wants a challenge? Who wants a free account? Y'all want a free account? Alpha Futures? I've never used them, no. I've never used them, so I can't tell you anything about them. Nunca les he usado. You ready to win? Corey's always ready to win, man. Heyo. Oh, there's everybody. I see. Now the chat's active. All right. So let's see here. Oh, you have it? Can you send me that as a link or no? Or it won't stay? I'll just plug it in too. Thanks, babe. What's it called? Wheel of Names. All right. Here we go, folks. So we're going to do 2 spins here. Now, just like the rules had stated, depending on how you, what kind of testimony you guys did, then you got more or less entries in here. So here we go. First round. It's wild. Like literally, it was free money for free value. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 people did it total. Crazy. There's like hundreds of you on, but well, all right. First winner. I'm gonna shuffle it up a little bit here. Here we go. 3 shuffles. Let's take it for a spin, yeah. First winner. Who's got it? Jason P. With the dub. Let's go. All right, shout out Jason P. Is that moving Wicks? Is that the boy? He be moving. All right. Hey, I feel good because I know he's got it. That one, he'll pass it, no problem. All right, so shout out Jason for be the first winner. Yeah, I'll remove you here. Okay. Entry removed. Now, second winner. Let's go. The boy Isaiah Mitchell with the W. So, hey, shout out Jason. Shout out Isaiah. Free accounts, guys. If you did not get an account today, don't worry. There's more coming your way soon. All right, so there we go. Congrats. I feel bad, man. I think Katya was like 1 away both times. So hey, it's coming your way soon. Don't you worry. All right. So from here, just a quick recap, guys, on indices before we wrap up. Just keep an eye on each of them. The buy setups look good. I think I'm leaning more towards Dow being the buyer of the day, or at least holding the structure. So Isaiah, Jason, I'll go ahead and reach out to you guys right now, and we'll get you guys set up with your brand new accounts. Good stuff, y'all. Everyone else, stay tuned for new giveaways here coming your way soon. So stay on the lookout on this next giveaway. I'll probably announce it actually later today. Congrats. Merry Christmas, everybody. Absolutely, 100%. All right. Peace out, guys. Thanks for showing up. We'll be back here live on Monday. And stay locked in, guys. What I'll say is this. You have some days. You're going into the weekend. As always, gotta plug in the syndicate because the ROI for me, in my opinion, is just ridiculous. If you want to be someone who is getting payouts, if you want to pass accounts, if you want to build consistency, if you want to build your discipline, if you want to stop being, if you want that extra feedback, that extra support, I don't see a better way to do it. That's just plain and simple. Just the transformations that we've been able to see so far in about 6 months with just the first group that started, that's been consistently showing up, has been incredible. It's just awesome to see. And we believe in it so much that we're willing to get a portion of it just only through payouts from you guys because we want to see you win like that. So anyways, if you want 2026 to be different, if you're someone that is constantly getting just close enough, but then there's a bit of self-sabotage, then I think having a group close to you where you're getting feedback, where you're making adjustments will go a very long way. So take care, you guys. Much love, and we will see you again going into this on Monday. So if that's you, scan the code on the right, schedule a call here. If I know you're thinking of an excuse right now and you're like, oh man, but New Year's, family, whatever, it's a short call. But if you prefer delaying your success through comfort, then cool. Hey, that's on you. I wish you the best. So take care, fam. I'll see you all on Monday. Peace.